Today, we're going to dissect an absolutely incredible military masterpiece. And in the process, we're going to uncover an ancient strategic principle that is just as powerful today as it was thousands of years ago. So let's start with a moment of just sheer terror, described by someone who was actually there. This was the scene at the Battle of Shentouling in 1938. Can you imagine being a soldier on the march, and then all of a sudden you look up and see this on the hills all around you? And what followed was just pure carnage. In only 2 hours, an entire Japanese force was completely decimated, suffering over 1,500 casualties. I mean, the attack was so shocking, so perfectly executed, that the Japanese themselves called it a first-class ambush. So the real question is, how on earth was that even possible? Well, to find the answer, we need to look at the battle's mastermind and the 2,500-year-old blueprints he was using to pull off this seemingly impossible victory. The roots of this whole strategy lie deep in Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It's a powerful concept all about creating and then unleashing overwhelming power. Sun Tzu used these incredibly powerful metaphors to explain two critical concepts: momentum and timing. See, he taught that it's not just about having strength, it's about how you build that strength up and, crucially, when you decide to release it. So he breaks it down into Shi, which you can think of as potential energy, and Ji, that's the decisive moment of release. Imagine Shi is like water building up and up behind a massive dam, all that immense stored power. G is the moment that dam breaks, unleashing everything in one single, unstoppable flood. And when you put those two ideas together, you get this core military principle, Shi Xian Ji Duan. What it means is you intentionally create a situation of extreme potential danger for your opponent, and then, bam, you strike in a brutally short, sharp, and decisive burst.
So who was the military genius who mastered this ancient art in the 20th century? Well, let's meet Marshal Liu Boqing.
Liu Boqing deeply understood Sun Tzu. He believed in creating a battlefield posture so shaky, so unbalanced for the enemy, that their collapse wasn't just possible, it was absolutely inevitable. Any attempt they made to resist would be completely futile.
You know, his entire tactical philosophy was built right on this foundation. He thought that putting his own soldiers in a dangerous spot would actually sharpen their survival instincts and unleash their full potential. The fight itself had to be brutally quick and efficient, giving the enemy zero time to react, recover, or even think about escaping. Okay, so let's get back to the Battle of Shentouling and see exactly how Liu Boqing put these ancient principles into action step by step. So first, he had to create the Shi, the momentum. He used a small force as bait, a classic move, right? Lure the much stronger Japanese force right into a perfectly prepared trap. He stacked all the odds, putting his own forces in a position of overwhelming advantage while making the enemy completely and totally vulnerable. And then came the J, the release of the trigger. With the enemy column completely inside the kill zone, the ambush was sprung. The timing was absolutely perfect. The attack was a complete surprise, and the fighting, it was all over in just 2 hours. There was simply no escape. I mean, the results really speak for themselves. The extreme closeness of the hidden troops just 25 meters from the road meant that first volley was absolutely devastating. The pure suddenness of the attack created total chaos. It was a tactical masterpiece, born from an ancient principle. But here's the really cool part. This principle of building up potential energy and then picking the perfect, decisive moment to act, it's not just for the battlefield. It applies absolutely everywhere. Liu Boqing himself, he used an analogy from a famous Chinese story, Wu Song fights the tiger. He argued that Wu Song could beat the tiger not just because he was brave in that one moment, but because he had the underlying foundation, years of martial arts training, huge courage, plus a big meal and some wine. The point is, you have to build your strength first to create that winning moment. Or think of life's rhythm like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It has that iconic, dramatic opening, fate knocking at the door. But so much of the piece is actually about building tension and anticipation. It's those quiet, preparatory parts that make the powerful crescendos so impactful. People who achieve great things, they get this. They know how to patiently build their skills and resources, concentrating all their energy for those few crucial moments that define success. So that brings us to the final question, and it's for you. How can you apply this principle? How can you patiently build your potential in your career, in your personal projects, your goals, and then identify that single decisive moment to act with the unstoppable force of a drawn crossbow finally being released?